Thank you for tuning in to Perfectly Palm Beach. This episode is brought to you by Pretzels.com, the best pretzel partner for the month of December. Hi, everybody, and welcome to Perfectly Palm Beach. This is the place for very interesting people in Palm Beach who have a lot to say and are doing interesting things in town. But today in the studio, I am really thrilled to bring you one of my bestie bests, who I have been lucky enough to be on radio, terrestrial radio, for those of you who remember what that was like, on ABC. Well, our radio show was called A Fashionable Life. We were on ABC and Good Morning America doing fashion segments. We were doing covering special events all over New York City. One of the best things that we were able to do together was report on President Obama's inauguration and talk about fashion to the whole world. It was really thrilling for both of us. She is now the creative director because she's an amazing stylist. She's so talented. She's the creative director of a relatively new company, equestrian and activewear company. And I am so thrilled. I'm almost close to tears because I'm so excited to be in the studio with her again to introduce all of you to the one and the only Jen Marden.
Hi, everybody. Jen Press Marden.
Jen Press Marden. Okay.
It's my new iteration. I reinvented myself.
And I love that name because you really come from an iconic fashion family, J Press, right?
You know,
so tell everybody that, because that's pretty amazing.
I don't know that I would use the term fashion in the sense that when my great-grandfather Jacoby Press founded J Press, it was predicated on really servicing the young men at Yale. In New Haven, he was a tailor. He came from Russia. He escaped religious persecution.
Right.
And he would go with his fabrics and he would go to the doors of the guys in the final clubs and in the dorms and create these custom clothes. And that morphed into a brick and mortar store on York Street in New Haven.
So when you and I first met, we were positive that your grandfather and my father put us together, because my father literally had a J Press guy that he met on the side of the road, that he would buy his suits and jackets and, you know, go through all the fabrics and pick what he wanted between, I guess it was somewhere in Ohio between, I don't know what the exact route was, but I know that that's what happens. It was a good reminder about how we met.
It kind of is like long before there was even a concept of the internet. It was the way that J Press was able to get its tentacles out.
There were representatives,
the preppy, the preppy folks who appreciated and were the embodiment of what is now termed Ivy style.
Exactly.
And I would say, having come from that background and also having grown up in New York City in the 70s, I was so influenced by street style. And again, this was something that wasn't in the vernacular back then, that notion of street style.
Right.
But we know when you walk through New York, you know, it's visual candy all
well,
the
you
time.
also have an incredible eye, Jen.
Thank
I
you,
mean,
sweetheart.
honestly.
Thank
So you really have that kind of vision. You know what colors, you know what silhouettes, you know what to recommend to somebody. You really understand all that. And I think that you're talking about where that all comes from, which is your history.
And, you know, as we get older
and growing up in New York,
I think as we get older, we look back more when we're young.
Yeah.
You know, life
definitely
is ahead of you.
Yeah.
And I would also share that in my evolution as a woman, and certainly since we were doing A Fashionable Life,
right,
where we were at that time in our lives, and look where we are now. You know, here you are in Palm Beach. Here I am in New York City and Sag Harbor, second marriage. You know, life has still blonde.
Thank God.
Still blonde.
Thank God. God forbid you should go gray.
God forbid.
But that's sort of the big lesson in life, which is that you and I both know, is that when you write the script, God laughs at you and says, no, I've got something completely different in mind for you.
I'll say.
And I think that that's sort of what happens, right?
So back to the F word.
But your history.
That's my history.
Yes.
Is sort of what I'm doing now in the realm of, you know, my fashion life.
Right.
Speaks to the styling, but also the consulting that I do for young brands, particularly brands that are owned by women, because
I love that.
As I know
love that
you
you're doing
do,
that.
I takes such great joy and pride in mentoring women.
Mm-hmm.
And the benefit of aging, aside from just the privilege of getting older, is this idea of utilizing our wisdom and our cumulative experience and passing it on.
Right.
And in that spirit, Kendall, who's the founder and owner and creator of FWORDS.
Which I didn't even say the name of the company. It's FWORDS Gear,
so
right?
It's fwordsgear.com is the URL.
Okay.
She is somebody who, very much unlike anyone in the activewear space, has a designer lineage, the likes of which, I mean,
her background is incredible.
Gets me so excited. She worked at J. Mendel. She worked at Reem Acra.
Yeah.
So she's got a true.
Gosh, we loved Reem Acra, right? We used to go to Fashion Week all the time to see that show.
My daughter Sarah wore a Reem Acra wedding dress, which was just kind of a coup.
I forgot to say we were the very first people, really the reporters, to cover Fashion Week in New York.
That's actually true.
It's true. Nobody was doing that.
No.
I mean, we would literally go backstage.
We were a tag team.
And we would run back and grab Michael Kors and run back and grab
his mother.
Ralph and his mother, who
and
we
his
loved.
Mother.
Yes.
Love, huh?
And I mean, nobody was doing that. So anyways, I just had
I just
had to digress there for a quick sec.
You can digress all you want. That's what I'm here for, honey. Yeah. Let's digress away, babe. You got to keep me on track.
I know you go off on a tangent. ADD. So wait, go back to So you're the creative director of FWORDS Gear.
The truth is, my moniker isn't creative director. It's CFO.
Oh,
Would you like to know what CFO stands for? I hold the same title in my marriage. I am the Chief Fun Officer.
I like that.
And obviously,
and that's
I say that
very real about you. You are fun.
It's who I am.
You bring fun.
I'm a fun meister.
Yeah.
And with that all being said, the collection that we just launched, the Freedom Collection, is really about the freedom to do what we love.
Mm-hmm.
And the freedom piece comes in feeling our best, because if we're self-conscious and we don't feel that whatever we're wearing, including the beauty piece, our hair color, jewelry, all the things that outward facing, I look at it.
The whole package has to be good.
The package has to be good.
Right.
And it has to relate back to who you are on the inside.
Right.
Otherwise, there's a bit of a disconnect.
And you guys are encompassing that in this beautiful brand.
And with that all, there are a lot of brands out there who are doing activewear. And it's fair to say that during COVID, a lot of us lived in activewear.
Definitely.
We weren't dressing like this.
Oh, I was.
And so
you were. Oh, I was. Just full makeup. Oh, yeah. Every day.
Are you being serious?
Kidding, everybody. Of course.
You were. I was. Listen, we always talk. Janie, remember when
we had to be on Zoom, so you had to look good.
Remember when you used to do treadmill and I'd say, like, what do you do on the treadmill? And you'd be like, I plan my outfits. Well, I walk through life and I'm always planning outfits, not just for myself, but for everybody else.
I do it all day.
Exactly.
Yeah, I know.
And with that all, what Kendall has done is created this collection where everything relates to each other.
Beautiful.
So even if you're not an equestrian, and there's this incredible, equestrian freedom collection that we ultimately collaborated with Vanessa Hood, who's an amateur jumper here in Wellington. And she did all the test study. She would ride and, try one seam. Oops, that seam didn't hold up very well.
Right.
Let's go with this.
You got her feedback.
Exactly. And everything is manufactured in New York, beginning to end by
Which
one
sewer. That you're able to do that locally.
So think about that. That's the equivalent of
unusual.
bespoke or couture.
Right.
However, the price point is not bespoke and couture. And even though it's made in New York City, we've been super mindful around the attainability of the clothes without, sweating the price.
So she's basically an equestrian, right? This is where this idea came from. And I also
Kendall actually was a competitive gymnast, but she found in the pursuit of equestrian sport, a level of chic, a level of tradition, and an opportunity for her to exercise her incredible talent at design. So,
her background
but
lends
she
to that.
is not. Now, for all of you who don't know me, I am an equestrian, not of the Vanessa Hood variety.
But you're loving it. It's a big part of your life, and you love animals, so it was a natural for you.
Absolutely. But what I've come to see in hanging out at the barn, because give me horse manure and leather, and I'm
well, you're not quite mucking the stalls, but you're
not at my barn in Bridgehampton. No, I'm not. Although I would like to, but it's a full service situation.
You would have.
I can get down and dirty.
You can, baby.
Listen,
I know.
The bottom line is, I can't play a sport if I don't like the clothes.
I'm right there with
and
you. Are
with
you kidding
that
me?
being said, and knowing that you are a golfer, and
as a tennis player and an athlete, but I had to pick one because I have a bad back. So at the moment, it's golf. Yeah.
So as you can see, I've put this little thing here. Kendall is now doing golf and expanded on her tennis. And there's a thing now where, certainly out in the Hamptons, where we're in Sag, as I said, Sag Harbor, women are running around, and they're not that's not always been the case, and certainly in Palm Beach, that's part of the the culture here. But it's now the kind of thing where you're going from point A to point B to point C. You're not going home and showering and changing your clothes. You kind of want to look good.
Yes, of course.
No matter what.
And you want to wear clothes that are in a fabric that's really comfortable.
That's absolutely right.
And that sort of works with your geographical climate,
that's right.
area.
That's right.
I want to back up one second.
Ma'am. Back up away.
And I want you to tell everybody what FWORDS stands for.
Yeah. So it's really all about those words that are most important to women, fit.
Exactly.
Function.
Correct.
Right?
Right.
Fashion.
Right.
Now, all of our...
Wait, there's one more F.
F.
Flexibility?
I'm going to just
functionality.
Functionality. Ooh, Kendall's going to be like, Jen, what's
No, it's functionality, Jen.
Well,
it's
I'm just going to say, I like functionality, so we'll use that. But I think
that it is what it is.
What's really important, just to give you an example.
Love all those words.
I rode in the Hampton Classic last summer. This was a dream I've held my whole life. And, I was totally aspirational.
It's like,
thanks, babe.
Good for you.
Hey, listen, I did the flat class. I wasn't jumping, but we got through it.
Yes.
And it was one of those moments that I will take with me for the rest of my life. So I had the benefit of being able to wear FWORDS. I wore one of the show blouses. And what's amazing.
They're beautiful.
Well, you would wear it with a pair of jeans or a pair of black pants or whatever. There's no differentiation between the show ring and what you would wear. And that's when you're packing and you're traveling. You could wear that shirt over a tank top and go hiking in Sedona, as I did.
Right.
So
but the fabric it's absorbed. Yeah.
Tulle under your pits. Okay. So you have this incredible.
So you don't show sweat marks. You don't sweat. Yeah.
So when you take your riding jacket off and you're setting up the tables at the Hunter Ring and the Grand Prix ring to go have your lunch while you're watching the Grand Prix jumpers. Yeah. You kind of feel like chic and not schwitzed out.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
So I think what
you can smell, but it's okay.
But honey,
you haven't worked that out yet.
I perspire. I don't sweat. But the amazing thing is that we've identified something that is so unique to FWORDS. And actually, I'll share with you
I do like the functionality piece.
So I don't know if you can see that, but there's this beautiful wing, which is exemplary of this idea of freedom, which we all look for.
Yeah.
And the wing, of course, the Association of Pegasus.
Yes.
And our horses that take us where we want to
take flight.
And even if you're not, by the way, that was my horse's Finn, but his show name was Take Flight.
I love
it. That's
really?
Kind of funny you just said that.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I have trouble taking flight sometimes on him. He's a little bit of a huffalump sometimes, but that's another story. But more important, and back to this idea of what women want, I think that what activewear used to be is not what activewear is now. And if you go on FWordsGear.com, you'll see that, as you did, you identified that fabulous dress that, you could surely wear on the tennis court, but you would look just as adorable if you were wearing, a pair of Gucci sandals and a shape bag and one and done.
But I think what sets this brand sets apart from other brands is really the fabrication, because that's what's sort of new and modern in the world, right?
Yes.
Is that we're really able to bring those kind of fabrics to that also include fantastic fit.
Yes.
But the fabrication allows us to participate in the sport without looking like you've been in the Sahara Desert.
It's exactly right. And we all struggle, particularly those of us, at a certain point in life, it's the hot and the cold and the hot and the cold. But the truth is,
but any athlete who's jumping is sweating.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And all of us live in different climates. So with that, ability to adjust, you're wearing one thing, but you're adjusting. So we have on the silicone on our breeches for the hood breech, which, as I shared, Vanessa had a big hand in helping us develop. There's this sticky on the silicone that actually is heat activated. So the more, you sweat, the more it functions in the way you want it to. And in the same way where other brands may have, man-made fiber under the pits, we've got Silk Tool. And it's just...
She's got special pockets in the breeches for your cell phone.
She does. And in the golf and the skirts. And you pick up the skirt and you could put your phone in there. So everything is
and your balls and your tees and your golf glove and all that stuff.
There's a mindful approach to what
Jen.
Kendall does. Yeah. And the truth is we really rely on the feedback because we have lots of clients who've been buying from Kendall since she started.
Right.
And
it's nice that she has all those people supporting her.
She does. And I think that we are in a place now post COVID.
We hope.
Where hopefully mind over matter, hopefully, that what's starting to happen. And of course, one of the impetuses for me to be in Palm Beach with you is the fact that we're doing this wonderful pop-up boutique shops at the Colony to raise money for Opportunity, a non-for-profit here that helps
Opportunity.com.
give a hand up to kids who have challenges. And this is all coming back to life in a way that it's been totally dormant. So we've really had to focus on the online piece.
Right.
And in a way, taking a pause.
It's good to learn though that.
Kendall learned how to code. So she's doing a lot of that back end stuff herself. God knows, I didn't do that.
We're a little challenged that
way. Not my wheelhouse.
Yeah, mine either.
But it's
code? I don't think so.
I know.
Oh God.
I don't even know what that means, frankly.
Yeah.
But anyway, it's really, for me, this has been the greatest gift ever. And I would just share with you, a funny story. I met Kendall actually at the Hampton Classic in 2019, the summer. It was the last Hampton Classic before this summer, because of course they didn't have it.
Yeah.
I walked into a booth where she was doing she had one little rack in the back. I went to the corner, as a New Yorker, I have a little bit of a truck driver mouth, and I dropped the F-bomb. And she looked at me and she said, "Do you know what the name of my company is?" I said, "No, I have no idea." She said, "FWORDS, I think we're going to get along." And that was our first meeting.
That's great.
Yeah.
So I want to back up one more time again. And because of all the people that are listening, I want you to share a little bit about your professional background, because I think for both of us, our careers have really developed organically. And it's been like the door opens because it's where we're supposed to walk through. We've been really lucky that way. And I think that knocking on wood. Yeah, because we've had so much fun.
We
really have. And this you just shared how you met Kendall, but the organic development of your involvement of going from, radio, television, now you're into, creative, being a creative director or CFO, whatever you want to call yourself, but you're really involved in styling and developing this brand. I want other girls that are listening to hear kind of how that all happened for you.
Thanks for the question, because there's nothing I enjoy talking about more with women than the crazy mixed up paths that we ultimately lay
our
as we live our
experiences.
lives.
Yeah.
And the two of us are a great example of that. It's started by saying where we started and where we've landed, like who would have thunk, right? So I started in a showroom on 7th Avenue at Adrian Vittadini, for those of you who remember, knitwear out of college.
She was it. She was it then.
She at that time was a Cody Award winner.
And she's got incredible taste.
She
Beautiful.
does.
Beautiful.
And my father really impressed upon me how important it is to learn how the sausage is made. If you want to be in the fashion business, you better know all aspects of that world.
Where the zipper goes, how do you make the pockets, all of it.
That's right.
Buttons,
because you got to talk the talk if you're going to walk the walk. So that was my first. Then I ultimately went to Vogue, was in accessories at Vogue, was in charge of the accessories and the clothing closet. And that laid the groundwork, sort of my MBA, just as for you being at Bazaar.
I have to interrupt you. Just tell everybody that you have to remember what that scene was in Devil Wears Prada.
That was our lives.
That huge closet
Yeah.
that Stanley Tucci takes Anne Hathaway into and pulls clothes and belts, and that really exists.
It really does. The saddest part of that closet, Janie, and you know this well, as somebody who's 5'4", right? Maybe I lied. Maybe I'm really 5'3.5". Maybe I was 5'4", now I'm 5'3.5". But I couldn't wear any of the shoes because
everything was size 9.
It was huge,
yeah.
but I could borrow other stuff. So from Vogue, I then abandoned ship, moved to Greenwich, Connecticut, had my 2 children. Hello. Got a little blonder, and then met a woman who is to this day one of my besties, Jamie Camshay, who had a business called JL Rocks, fine jewelry. And I ended up, as you know, opening up a shop for her on Greenwich Avenue and kind of went back to what I love.
The accessory part of the world. Yeah.
So that was great. Then I met Janie Chase because if not 12 people in the course of a month said, do you know Janie Chase? Because you two are
Because I had just moved to Greenwich. And the funny thing is, I moved to Greenwich and I was riding in backcountry at a farm, and I can't remember the name of it.
Oh, out on
on John Street.
On John
and
Street.
I was out riding all the time because then I could
you would
still
be
do that.
Because you're such an athlete, Janie. You know, I grew up in Manhattan.
Well,
you know, athletes from Manhattan for 500, please. No. That said, well, I've become athletic, but I didn't lay down. We're talking about laying down those strong muscles when you're younger helps as you get older, right?
Totally, yeah.
Anyway, so then we met, and it was like a Fast and Furious love fest. And you asked me to join you as your co-host on A Fashionable Life.
Yeah.
And from that point, we launched a brand, which was pretty great.
It was because we were like pioneers.
We were.
Literally nobody was.
We had podcasts before people knew what podcasts were.
Exactly.
Right?
But we used to get emails from people listening in Paris and kind of all over the world, which was so exciting.
Yeah, we interviewed everybody.
We did. And then we ended up, which was so interesting, and this is the organic part of this journey of ours, is that somehow it was so crazy. In our late 40s, really, I mean, not to talk about age, but really in our late 40s, mid 40s or late 40s.
I'm going to say mid 40s. I think I was,
it was
in
mid.
my.
You were your mid. I was in my late.
I was like 44.
Okay,
which seems like I was a teenager almost.
We ended up doing fashion segments on Good Morning America, which led to further doing other things for ABC.
That's right.
And we did so many special events in town, movie premieres, red carpets and CFDA awards and sports awards. It was really fun.
It was. And I think through that, if I may say, 1, 2, 3, back to me, because you did ask me the question. I want to share with you that was when I really found my voice as a woman, because I identify first and foremost, as you do, as a mom. Proudly. That's my proudest moniker.
Oh, yeah,
is the mother of my 2 children and now
too.
the grandmother of my grandbabies, both mine and my step. That said, that voice helped me navigate through the challenging time through divorce, at which point I left Greenwich, Connecticut and married my prince. And at that point,
is a prince.
He's a prince of a guy. And I would say you may have had a hand in introducing us, but that's another podcast for another month. We won't go there. However, all that being said, and this is the piece that's most important to me, is in finding my voice, it allowed me to open up the possibilities for inhabiting persona that I had in me all along, but didn't necessarily know how to identify.
I think that's true.
And through that, and what is super important to me as a person now, as a woman, is that I'm chairman of the board of directors for a health and human service agency in New York City called Serving the Underserved, sus.org. And that work for me is my ballast. It's my connection point to things that are perhaps a tad more substantive than worrying about, how I'm going to style the FWORDS shoot. Now, not to say that's not fulfilling and substantive in its own way, but obviously any way we can leave some legacy above and beyond.
Your philanthropic work is always important.
And boy, is there a lot I don't know and I didn't know. And I'm always a seeker of knowledge, as you are. And I've learned so much. And the more I know I don't know. But it's been a tremendous experience for me. So
I'm so proud of you for doing that. It's really cool. It's really great.
I love it. I really do.
It's really wonderful.
And I love it because I get to connect with folks that because of the segmentation in our society, and I'm in the fashion world and all of that kind of stuff, it doesn't really give me entree to meet people who are not necessarily like me or like you.
Right.
And so that's been a tremendous, it's also helped inform me around a lot of stuff I didn't know.
So for FWORDS, what's the next thing what's next for you guys?
So much. So we are currently in the pre-fall market. We have
it's exciting.
We've shifted from direct sales. We also have a wholesale component. We are going to be in a showroom in New York City.
So exciting, Jen.
And we're, Kendall's like moving and shaking. The woman works harder than any. I'm always saying, like, are you hydrating? Like my children, I drive her. Are you drinking? Are you eating? Are you getting enough sleep? And, I think being a mom is sort of a little bit of part of the hat that we always wear. But but what I'm really excited about is building on this foundation of the Freedom Collection, getting the necessary feedback from our customers, because this is our first collection around what we're doing right, what maybe needs to, change, that sort of stuff. Because you always have to, as Ed Mitchell used to say, you got to hug your customer, right? You always have to listen to what the customer wants.
Exactly.
And I'm just excited for the future. We have, F stands for freedom. I've got my little.
It's so great. The stuff is so great looking. It's activewear, tennis, golf. What else, Jen? It's like travel stuff for traveling. The great sports bras. I mean, amazing.
Listen, this woman.
That stuff's hard to find, honestly.
She can make anything, and she special orders. We have extra small to extra large. Our clients.
I think you should do evening gowns.
Well, she could.
She really could.
Well, listen,
that fabrication, I'm ready.
But she's
I could be a fit model.
Incredible at outer. You could be. She's incredible at outerwear. There's really nothing.
I'm just kidding.
You want to be a fit model?
But thank you. Thank you for that feedback.
My pleasure.
No, but I have this very specific ideas in mind for evening wear because it's really hard to find. It really is hard to find.
That's where she comes from.
Yeah. And I don't always want to have a bag. I want a little pocket for my lipstick and a little pocket for my phone.
You know what? Anything that has pockets,
I love, right? Yes.
It's also something to do with your hands. If you're at a cocktail party, right? You got one hand on your glass.
I'm tired of carrying those damn phones.
I know.
No offense to, all the different brands out there of phones, but God.
But now they're also, I think as a New Yorker, because we're running around all the time, I'm so into the crossbody bag.
Oh.
Because you're able to kind of run around and it doesn't get in your way.
Right.
That extra strap that you can put across. Yeah, I'm kind of into that.
I love that. I love that.
So
onward and upward with this brand, right?
Onward and upward.
It's so exciting, Jen. It's great.
I'm so proud.
So now you get to add not just only a board member of this very active and successful philanthropic charity that you love and that you're very passionate about. You can now add CFO to your long list of accolades, babe.
And you know what? As we move through life,
put it there, honey. Put it there.
God only knows what's around the corner, right?
I'm so proud of you.
Got to be open.
And I'm just so thrilled that you've been here today with me.
Thank you, sweetie. Is this an opportunity to plug my father's book?
Before we go,
God forbid
absolutely.
we don't plug Richard E.
Oh my
Press's
gosh,
book, Threading the Needle.
Jen's father is one of the funniest people that I know, and so smart and so accomplished, and has just written this great book called Threading the Needle. And it's available on jpress.com, right?
It is, or Amazon. And really what it is a compilation of stories that he's written for Ivy Style, where he was an editor, and for the JPress website. And it's really the story of my family and what it was to be, what it is to be in that business through the course of history. My father's a historian and by the way, I did write a piece.
I was just about to say, didn't you write something?
So I'm sort of plugging myself.
And honestly, he is one of the funniest people.
I'm so proud.
You should be. He's
in his 80s and he wrote his first book.
You would never know that he's in his 80s.
I just blew his cover. Sorry, Dad. But
or your mother. They look fantastic.
They're
gorgeous. And really that he's just, it's a great lesson. I think he never stops. Why stop?
You can't stop moving.
That's right.
You do. It's not pretty.
He's always learning and achieving. And
yes.
He's
a voracious. He's my book source. He tells me what to read. Pretty much.
Well, I'm going to call him for Christmas because I'm a little stuck.
He's heavy in the nonfiction. He's not a huge fiction.
What's the funny book?
Mel Brooks is.
Mel Brooks.
Yeah. Who starts off by saying, "Don't tell anybody about this book. It's a big secret." And he goes, "Oh, wait a minute.
Your dad says
no."
This?
Mel Brooks in the forward. He says, "Wait a minute. That's not what I want to say. I want everybody to read. Tell everybody." In full Mel Brooks.
Oh, good. That's hysterical.
Yeah.
I'm so glad we were able to get that in. Anyways, Jen, I love you dearly.
Adore you.
I'm so proud of you. FWordsGear.com,
you
guys.
too, honey.
And even if you're not an equestrian or a tennis or a golf player,
Doesn't matter.
there's stuff on this website that you're gonna.
We have the
that
best
you're gonna love.
Pilates and yoga gear around.
It's great.
So.
Even if you're just going to the grocery store.
Yeah,
what
you
the
wanna look
heck?
good. You want to, you want your little touch to
Hey,
feel really up.
We
and
want
perky.
everything up and perky.
That's what you want.
Okay, everybody. Thanks so much for joining us on Perfectly Palm Beach.